Hi, everyone. So this is Fa from Sunset Cellars and Susun Valley Wine Co-op. Today, I am joined by my friend Jaton Gunter.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? This is Jaton Gunter, owner of Grapes and Sound Publishing, author and sommelier.
This month of February, is the Black History Month. Can always benefit from learning about Black history and celebrating it with all of us. And even though this is halfway through the month, we are celebrating through the whole month. So thank you for joining me.
Before I get into this, I want to let everybody know that's listening that I am not the voice of all Black people. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions about Black history and Black people, and we are not a monolith. We are all different. There's a lot of Malcolms and Martin Luther Kings in our group. So we all march to the beat of our own drum, but I will tell you my own personal ideas and thoughts about things. So with that being said, Black History Month. Black History Month is very important. I am a person currently that I try to live more in the present and in the future, but you have to know your past in order to move on to the future. So this is a celebration month. Even though we had a lot of stuff that happened, to me, I'm celebrating my Black people through, doing my Wine Wednesdays and, trying to showcase Black winemakers. I do it throughout the year, but I really focus on February as the month that I really showcase Black winemakers on Wednesdays, my Wine Wednesday shows. And just kind of giving credit to the people that have kind of moved the needle for us,
Right.
thus far. So,
Yeah, and okay, so that's actually a good lead to my second question, which is, Black History Month as a whole, as a person, but how about as a professional, a Black professional in the wine industry? Like, how have you found the industry to be like?
I will tell you. So I've been in the industry roughly 15 years. Started off as a wine blogger, like writing about like wines that I found that are really cheap that you can find. Good wines cheap.blogspot.com. Still up there. I don't post anymore, but that was it. But so when I first got into the industry, I was, finding bottles at Trader Joe's, at Bevmo, things like that, and trying to figure it out. But the problem was, although I was accumulating all this knowledge about wine and writing about it, trying to find discounts and stuff like that, people didn't know me. And so I would go into these tasting rooms, right? And, I'm Black. And at the time, 15 years ago, I mean, of course, there were Black people in the industry, but at the time, 15 years ago, I'd go in tasting rooms, and not all places, but a lot of them were probably just like, well, I don't know what they were thinking, but it felt like I was kind of like being ignored a little bit. Like I'd be on the end, I wanted to do a tasting, right? Because a lot of times you go in those tasting rooms, they have like, you can, taste different types of flights. They'll charge like $15, $5, whatever.
Right.
And so I'd be sitting there, and then I would be ignored for a while. And the funny thing was, I'd see other people coming in that were not, of my complexion coming in, and they'd be like, hey, sit right here, we'll get right to you. And they would be right on them, So at the time, I did feel that way. And when it happened, I would just walk out. Like, it wouldn't be something I don't get upset. I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. And I just walk out. You won't get my business. And then I also love the look of surprise too, when I start talking about wine to people that they were nice to me when I came in. But then they pour me the wine and they just think I'm just like a regular like person. They're just like, oh, whatever, although, and I see them kind of paying a little bit more, I guess, attention to the other people. Once I start talking about the wine, you can see the light bulb go off. Like, oh, he knows about wine. Oh, I need to like, what's going on? This is interesting. I don't see a lot of Black people. This is what I imagine is going on in their head at the time.
Right.
I try not to take too much offense, but that was like, it was definitely something that made me want to write the book I wrote, Fruit and Glass, because I wanted to like kind of make it easier for people who look like me, and also people who just want to get into wine and don't understand wine. I wanted to make the barrier of entry to the wine industry easier for them.
It wasn't clear to me when, until I started looking for it, right? The lack of representations of Black people in the industry on both sides, on both the professional side, but also the drinker side. Like when you go to Napa Valley, for example, it's, once in a while I would look around and it's like take stock of how many different types of people there are.
Yeah.
right? And more often than not, you would not see so many Black people out there. And I wonder, it's like, is that because the environment out there, or the environment we create in the tasting room, make it less comfortable for people to come in? What do you think?
So that's a good question. You know what? This is me just kind of thinking out loud with this question. Wine is considered a luxury good. So
Right.
it's not something that we would gravitate to, because for a long time we've just been treading water. We've just been trying to survive,
Mm,
period.
mm,
And
mm.
so when you see somebody drinking wine and you're Black, and you see another black person drinking wine, at least back in the day, they'd be like, oh, this guy think he, like, they'd be looking at you, especially if it's a guy, they'd be looking at you like you were like crazy. It's not part of the community as a whole, especially
Right.
from where I come from. And
Uh-huh.
so, like, I think that once we started realizing that wine is not expensive, and
Right.
and you can find great wine at lower prices,
Yep.
and it is accessible to you. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
feel a way about it. I think now I've noticed, like, specifically for my my old spot, I noticed a lot of Black people coming into our
Yeah.
business in the last like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That 4 years prior there was hardly any. So I think
Right.
it's changing. I think the pendulum is swinging a little bit, but I think originally, when they were trying to, like, when we were just surviving, we go to the corner store or whatever, we grab like a OE, like 40s and stuff like that. That
Sure.
was part
Yeah.
of our survival mechanism.
Uh-huh.
Wine was not part of that. But I think now
Right.
that it's accessible for us, and we know it's accessible for us at the price,
Yeah.
we're starting to kind of pull out of that survival mode, not fully, but trying to pull out of the survival mode and get more into enjoying things that we consider luxuries that are
Right.
above
Right.
that a
Right.
little
Right. 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 Yeah. And I mean, I think the wine industry have now done more to make wine feel more accessible in general,
bit. Yeah,
right?
I agree.
That, there might have been in the past, like, this air of snootiness, air of
Yeah.
luxury that attached to wine, and people find it really inaccessible. Uh,
Yes.
but now, and hopefully, we're part of that as well. I always make sure that people who walk in the door at the co-op or at for Sunset, no matter where they are in their wine journey, we
Yeah.
meet them where they are, right? If this
Yeah.
is the first
Okay.
time, I love it when people come in for the first time and they say that, like, they've never been wine drinking or wine tasting before,
Yeah.
right? And I would, like, let me walk you through the
Yes.
little weird rituals that we do, right?
Yes. I
And,
mean,
like,
that's part of it, right? Like, we're educating in something that we love, right?
yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like when people walk into your place, you should be accessible for them. You should be like, whether they're brand new to the industry or not, brand new to wine or not, we should be there kind of, hey, how can I help you? And then we find out where they're at, right? You kind of meet them
Mhm.
where they're at. You want to find out where that is.
Right.
And then some people, of course, some people that are in the wine industry that, for example, come into they would come in and we'd start talking about wine, and I already knew they didn't want no, like, really no discussion. They just wanted to marinate on their wine and just enjoy it. And you read that situation and you say,
Yep.
I get it,
Perfect. Done.
your thing,
Yeah.
right? But if you need anything, I'm here for you.
So I wonder if you have any thoughts about, like, how, the industry as a whole, or individual winery like ourselves, can do better to make the industry, and wine as a beverage, more accessible and more welcoming to people.
So let's talk about like tasting rooms and wine bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let me just talk for myself. For me, it's about first impression. So when I
Mm-hmm.
walk into a place, I want to know that you see me.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't need you to give me special attention,
Right.
but I just want to feel like you see me and I'm of equal footing with everybody in there. And the ways to
Mm-hmm.
do that is immediate. Like, when someone walks in the door, I don't care, black, white, or whatever, you greet them and you
Mm-hmm.
say, I'll be right with you. That
Right.
right there says, okay, I need to be a little patient to be helped because he's busy right now, or she's
Right.
busy right now. So the greeting is important.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you walk up to somebody, you walk up with a blank slate. You
Right.
try. We all have prejudices. Like, let's keep it real. Like, everybody, if you don't have certain types of friends, like, say you don't have gay friends, say you don't have Latin friends,
Right.
you're gonna see what you see on TV and automatically prejudge who they are without
Preconception.
even
Right.
knowing who they are, because you don't have any kind of, you have no context. You don't,
Mm-hmm.
you never hung out with them. So I feel like go up, like understanding that you have prejudices, put that on the back burner, walk up with a blank slate to who they are. Don't start judging immediately. And then you
Mm-hmm.
say, how can I help you? Once you guys start talking, then you start understanding that maybe they know a little bit about wine, or maybe they know nothing about wine and I need to walk them through it. Let me make
Right.
sure I do something. That's one thing. Actually, no, that's probably the biggest thing in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that you don't treat anybody different, but you definitely walk up to everybody with blank slate, or try to have like a blank slate when you're walking up to them, when you're approaching them, and make sure you greet them when you walk in the when they walk in the door. And I think that would be important for wine bars and wine shops and vineyards. As far as on a bigger level, on a bigger plateau, I guess. I think people need to try black wines more often. Black winemakers are on equal footing as all other winemakers. You
Oh
will
yeah.
find a wine that you like from a black winemaker because, again, they're not a monolith. They make all different styles of wines:
Right.
Italian varietals, French varietals, champagnes now with Stuyvesant, out,
Mm-hmm.
out in Brooklyn. Like, we're all over the place. You just got to do a little research and try the black winemakers. I think you need to really, not you, I'm talking about like everybody. I think they need to really do
Right.
their
Of course.
homework and
Right.
dive into the industry and learn
Right.
more.
Right. Now, why? So playing devil advocate here, they might say it's like, well, why does it matter if a wine was made by a black person, a white person, or an Asian person, right? Why should someone seek out specifically black wine? My perspective is this: um, there are thousands of wineries out there, right?
Mhm.
California and otherwise, but there's only, you can list them all on one page, like 50 or something like that, black owned wineries out
True.
there. And white, like black people account for much more, for many more than that, right?
Mhm.
So why is that? And we can talk about, maybe it's harder for a black winemaker to really break it into the industry, right? Maybe it's harder for them to sell wine into distribution, because
It could be.
the
It
it's
could
not,
be
it's not so much about the consumer, because the consumer don't actually, when they see a bottle, they don't actually see like
the
people
winemaker.
behind the label,
Yeah.
but the people who make those bottles available to you
Mhm.
are the one making decisions. And maybe those decisions were biased in some way. So if you as a consumer vote with your wallet and say,
Mhm.
I want these labels because I want to support those causes, then it would make it, give extra reasons for a
Yeah.
distributor, for the second tier of in the T3 systems, to want to represent, right?
But again, black winemakers are not a monolith. Like, some may want to play into that and want you to know that
Mm,
they are a black winemaker. But some winemakers that are black are like, look, I don't want. It's not about that. It's about, I'm a winemaker.
yeah,
Go check out my juice and see
true.
if it's better than everybody else's juice.
That's
So I
true.
get both sides again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
I understand the side that wants to play into the, like, say this is black owned and represent that, because I get that. I'm black. I want y'all
right.
to know where this is coming from, right? But then I also understand the other side that's like, look, this is juice. I want you to figure out whether my juice is better than
Yeah,
all these guys that you have, these big
yeah,
names that you think are so amazing. I
for
want to
sure.
see if it beats them down. So yeah,
That's why I love a blind tasting and
me
wine
too.
in general. It's like, it's just juice in your glass, right? And there's
Yeah.
no bias. No one tell you who made it, who has grown, or where it's from.
Mhm.
It's just what's in your glass. But when it's in bottle, when it has a name attached to it, right? It's like, I, as an Asian winemaker and Asian business owner here, I feel the need to sometimes hide my Asianness a little bit, right, behind the
Yeah.
glass, and we kind of put a name that sounds European,
Yeah.
because that's what people come to expect about wine. If I put a name on my wine that sounds foreign, they might like, oh, what's this, right?
Yeah.
So I might be the same thing with any non-European
Yeah.
winemakers at all, that has to struggle with that decisions.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. I understand where you're coming from with that. Because people want to feel connected, right? They want to
Yeah.
feel connected, and if the face behind the thing that they felt connective is not similar to theirs, I mean, this is a psychology thing. They tend to like, I don't know what this is about. I'm not. I'm kind of
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. Right.
I get it.
Right. so it just make it harder for us to be ourselves and selling, being reflecting our identity in the
Yeah.
product. Like,
I'll be honest with you. For me, originally, so you know the black wino stuff, right? The black wino that
wearing
like
one
you
right
got
now.
one too. Yes, black wino hats, merch, all that stuff, right? Originally, I didn't want to lean into that. I just want, I just want to be a wine professional. I want people to know me as a wine
Yeah.
professional. I didn't want to lean into my blackness, but I'll be honest with you. Um, the older I've gotten, the more I'm just like, I'm unapologetically black. And
Mm.
when I walk into a room and you see me, I'm a black man, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying, and so yes, I have my black wino stuff, and I say it proudly, black wino. I don't want it to come. I don't want wine to come off pretentious, and I want y'all to know that this is a black brand that I've come up with, and that's what it
Right.
is. Now I have wino. I love my wino stuff. I have other stuff, brown wino, because I have a lot of my Latin brothers and
Oh
sisters
yeah.
that are in the game. And so like I have stuff that fits everybody. But originally the concept was behind black wino and
Hmm.
coming from a black man. And so that's what it is. Like I don't judge anybody for not being comfortable enough to doing that right now, or they're just about to. I get it. For me at this moment in my life, unapologetically, brother, black, and you gonna know it, and that's what
Yeah.
it is. So
No, love
yeah,
it. That's it. Well, cheers to that.
cheers, brother.